好 ，New project. Make sure you select CSharp. That should be desktop, Windows desktop, Windows Phone, not console, right? Okay, so initially, by default, it has been stored into repository. So we need to specify the location to the desktop for easier access. Then the name should be right. B07 502.0.0.0. Name, assignment, check. Okay, solution, same. Different framework, okay. Create directory for solution has been checked. Not added the source code controller. Okay, so make sure everything is alright. So the first thing is that change the file name from form1.cs into a meaningful name. The file name also serves as the class name, so I like to call it main form. And for today's assignment, I'm not going to ask you guys to design it in a class. Okay, so we probably just put everything within the form. That will be much easier for us to implement it. Okay, don't leave the form one title there. Okay, so make sure you do change the content or text or the text property of the form one. Okay, since we need to read file, right? Read file and save file, so we had better to have a menu bar and probably toolbar and also status bar. So these are the frequently used control. So we kind of open toolbox, pinned it. Either way, you search the category or Windows Form or probably container, something like that. Never mind. Or Windows Form. So menu strip. The control name is called menu strip. All right, menu strip. By default, a name has been added, right? Menu strip 1. Fine. If you like, you can change the name. And we have menu item defined. For this menu item, click on it, and then property, usually we have a file category, right? The menu list should have text, order of alphabetically. So we have text right here, file. And we need to open, right? Open it, so open. And by default, if you see a menu text with 3 little dots trailing, which means that there will be a dialog pop up for this command. Open. The other is save. Right? We like to have this menu. And if you pay attention to this menu item, you see in the left hand side there is a light gray column. So actually you can put an icon there. 你可以放一个小图像，一个 icon there, which will make your application look much more pro. Okay, 那可以让你看起来比较好。So what is the name about these two commands? You see, we still have a special name for you. Open tool 3 menu 1 menu 2 like that. Open, fine. Open, so open, right? It's okay. Tool, fine. Just open. In my convention, I get to special menu open. Well, it's totally up to you. Okay, menu up to open. This one, menu save. Okay, so far we did not subscribe any event, right? But if you look into the event pages, you can see the default event again is a click. All right, so this time, well, either way, both of them, we should subscribe the event, right? So open, but we are not going to well, never mind. We just double click it. Let the video studio prepare for that for us. So Visual Studio will prepare a function called main open, right? Main open underscore quick. Fine. Let the Visual Studio prepare this event for us. So similarly, for the save command, again, we subscribe its quick event. So Visual Studio prepare the event, the function name for us. So that should be main save and quick event. All right, so right now in our class, our main phone class, we have two functions. We actually like this event handling function has been prepared by the Visual for us. That is dedicated to these two manual commands, right? This two manual command. And how about the tool tree? So we add another tool tree. As you can see, this is a manual strip, right? So by default, with respect to its parent, so the doc, you see, doc has been specified by default to top. If you like to tear it out, tear it down. So if you click on none, as you can see, that is the control, manual strip control. So usually once you drag in a manual strip, it is automatically docked to the top or its parent. 好，它自然而然 dock 那边。So usually we will dock into the parent, dock into the top. Fine. So that is the manual strip. Whereas as you can see, you can always specify the property if you like to make it look different from the content. You can specify the back color if you like, anyway. So probably I just specify in order to distinguish it with the client rectangle. All right. So that is the manual strip. And how about a tool strip? So there is another control called tool strip. It's container always. Okay, that is another strip, but it's tool strip. So basically that is a place to host the command button, right? So tool strip 1. So here we add one, click on selection. See what kind of control you can add to the toolbar. You can see tool strip, we can add a button, label, split button, etc. You can try it. Always feel free to try to edit, and then you can easily delete it. So the first one, again, similarly is open, right? So we again names right here. In my convention, I like to tool strip button open. Even though you did not see any text, right? But for this tool strip button, we have a property called text. All right, so I name it open. Nothing shown up, right? So you need to prepare an icon stand for open. Did you do that? Yes, you can do that. You can just search a picture, I mean, from the web, from the Google, okay, and then replace it. So you do it by yourself. We are not the sunrise watcher, okay? You see this picture is a mountain there， 也是山。我们要把图改变一下，就是 Google 一下找一下那个 open 的那个，也许是一个 folder，right？ 自己找一个图接进来，不要留在那个地方哈。But before that, okay, we will add another button, right? So second button that is for save, right? Tool strip button save. Now again, there is a text right there. We call it save. But since right now I did not prepare a pertinent image for these two buttons, right? So usually we'll be confused with the functionality of these two buttons, right? But we have text. Right now we just show the text. So how can you do that? Okay, either one. I mean, click either one, or probably you can click both of them. If you press the control key, and then click another control, so you will perform multiple selection. So both of them, the shared, the common property will show up in this property grid right here. So we will change the property called display style. You see, by default for a tool strip button, the display style is simply image only. You can changes image and text. All right, that's much better, right? Otherwise, the image of this button will confuse your user, right? All right, so we have open tool strip button ready. We have save tool strip button ready. Similarly, I mean, for this control, for this tool strip control, you can specify a back color. It's totally up to you, okay? You can beautify your user interface somehow. All right, so that is the 2 street control, right? How about event? Well, so if we click on this open, right? This time we are not going to create a new function, right? Since either way, either this command, open command, that should do the same thing, right? For this button grid. So this time, since we have subscribe manual click event in open and save command, right? So this time we just select it. We subscribe the click event, right? But we did not provide new function. So these two controls share the same event handling function. So that should be okay. Click on this drop down button, and then we just select it. Manual open click. This function will be connect with this click event. How about save? Similarly, we select this one save. All right, so it's about so the event handling has been done there. And then how about the status bar? So we have status bar, status strip, the status strip. So another strip, by default, it has been docked to the bottom or the container or the parent. Okay. So what kind of control can be added to the status bar? It's restricted, right? So usually we specify a label there. So this label has been specified with a specified width thing. Size has been fixed, right? So how about the text? Currently, we do not display any, so we kind of erase it, the text. But the name, since we need to programming with it, so we have specified a so since it's a label, right? So I like to maybe call it a label message. So later on in my code, I can display something there. But since there is nothing special, text is empty, right? So it's kind of shrinking it automatically. As in fact, the length is automatic, right? But since it is located within this status strip, why not we just use up all the spaces, all the space for this strip? So in that case, we can specify a property of this guy. There is a property called spring. Oh, 弹簧. There is a property spring. By default, it's false, right? Spring meaning what? Meaning if this status bar has multiple control and control specified, right? One by one, each one has its own sizes, right? So if there is an empty space, the width of this control just stretch it. So you just turn the spring property into true. So right now, as you can see, the label message has used up all the spaces of this status strip. Fine. Okay, so up to this point, then we can, well, as you can remember, right now this is the current rectangle, right? Current rectangle. So current rectangle has been used up a little bit space by the manual strip and the tool strip. So right now we like to display 16 by 32 picture box. Okay. So take a look at the instruction. All right, so this display will consist of a grid of 16 by 32 LED bubble. All right, so we will use the picture box. So we will like to dynamically and programmably create 16 by 32 picture box, right? Stand for this image. So we need to prepare the 2-bit map first, just like we did it before, mentioned in previous assignment. So let us prepare our image first, right? So you can just copy the image, is used in previous assignment, or probably add one right now. So I like to add so actually you can add some sound effect, okay? But right now I just graphics, so I call it graphics. Prepare these two images by myself. So I always like to add a PowerPoint file. I use PowerPoint to generate this two images. Either way, I think you can just Google the web and to get a picture there somehow. Empty and I always start from add. So this time either way you can use a circle or round rectangle. Well, it's totally up to you. OK， 你可以自己弄哈。还是弄一个切角的嘛。好吧，我只用一个 rectangle 试试看哈 ，rectangle。然后 by default 呢，它的那个 3D 的 shape is look dim, right? So you can change the style. Not this one. That should be related to绘图哈，不是。Design is related to design 哈 ，theme 嘛就是主题哈，那这个 theme。So I like to special a theme which is much vivier. The color is much vivier, and the effect more. The effect select one category should be 好吧，试着弄看看哈。Okay, if I change the theme and the color, so after that I can change that. So probably this time I use green color. And the chamfer 啊 ，chamfer 就是不够大，对不对哈？那我们可以 specify 它的 property 立体格式哈。这里 too small, probably 10. Alright, 10 is okay. Okay. Alright, so this is lit image on image. How about off? Copy, paste it. And then you can specify the color, right? So maybe much more darker. 那再暗一点。Okay, anyway, just prepare on-off image, so I save it. One, save as a file, 另存图片哈。然后navigate 到你的 folder. Assignment 10, graphics. You can simply copy the image from your previous assignment. Okay, it's much easier for you. Okay, so off. Alright, so we have so-called graphics resource ready. Means for our application. So we would like to add these two images to our application, right? So we will add that as a resource. So how can you do that? So remember that we always start from the project, right? Project property, base category property. So we will let the Visual Studio embed these two figures as a resource and then write the code for us. Right, so click on this result. So remember that you need to click on this resource file, not main phone. Main phone contains its own resource file. Okay, so remember that this is the main phone, right? So if you look into the main phone, there is another file called main phone.resource. It's purely related to phone itself. If your application like to publish into different kind of language, since it's different culture, different language, it's kind of resource. So sometimes your phone has your own resource file. But right now, it's related to a whole project. So we have added these two images into this resource file, resources.exx. So we add existing file. This file have already there. So we navigate to this folder, graphics, right? Select both of them, on, off. Open it. So right now, we just did it, knowing that there are two figures, on, off, there's one. So actually, what has been done by the visual, so save everything. So if you look into this source code, there is a C# file, resources.designer.cs. Since it's the extension has a designer keyword there, right? So usually you don't need to do anything with that. You simply just use it. But if you look into this file, as you can see, Visual Studio prepared this new subspace. Subnamespace is called properties. This is your namespace, right? Your project is a namespace. Subspace called properties is a subspace. And Visual Studio prepare a class, design a class for you. Resources. And for each image, they prepare a property for you. You see, there is a property called what? Called of. So if you use this class, resources, directly you can access this property of and on. So that is a bitmap. Okay, so that is whole story about this image embedded. Okay, so up to this point we have. So would you please, follow the instruction? For this moment, if you have problem, I can help you. So look into this instruction. So first thing, to prepare a local variable. So let us probably talk about that. So the LED display consists of a grid of 16 by 32 LED bubbles, right? So we will use a picture box there. So if you look into the code suggestion, we will have this property ready. So we will have picture box, two-dimensional array. So that should be a 16 by 32 LED will be needed during the instantiation, right? So we have bitmap on, map off. And therefore we will have a dynamic array. Dynamic array is a list. For each element in list is an integer array. So integer array, if the integer array is 16 integer, which means a frame, right? So a list, within the list is a frame. The frames contain several frames, right? Each frame will be an int array. Specifically, there should be 16 integers embedded in each integer array. Okay, so we have an int current index, which is used in the animation. All right, so we know the animation. So how about the number of frames? You can access from this frame list array there. So probably the easiest way, I might just copy it, but once you paste it, you should clean up text. All right, so in my main phone, I kind of copy this so forth. So I have a picture box. It's a two-dimensional array, LDES, right? And then I have a bitmap, two bitmap on BMP, out BMP, and prepare a list, frames, int, and then we have int current index. We have integer array, original picture. See, if you want to do some animation on a still frame, so you need to copy it. So you need to store the 16 integer into this array. So we call it original picture. And probably you will shift the pattern of this original picture, right, into another provision. So we might have another one change the picture. Well, these two data are purely, for your usage. You can feel free to add any data member for your own purpose. Okay, and then since you would like to add some cycling effect, and then you might have a flag there. So this variable are just suggested. Okay, so it is not always required. Once you need it, just prepare the necessary data in this main form for yourself. All right. So first thing, generate all picture boxes. All right, so please do it by yourself. So initially, So we need to instantiate LEDs first, right? So we know it's a 16 by 32. So generate all visual boxes and then assign dim images to them. All right, so please do it by yourself. So right now you have what? LEDs. So you need to instantiate it, right? And then prepare the, you see, you need to pay attention to that. I mean, the zeros, the location of the zeros image is in right hand side. So you check out about the widths, right? The widths of this rectangle, current rectangle, you know that. But you need to pay attention that the current rectangle start from here. Okay, wait a minute. I have a button there, right? Okay. So before we do the next tab, so let us go back to the user interface phone design first. So let's go back to phone. So up to this point, right? So we have what? We have a menu strip, tool strip, status strip. So this time we add a special control. We call it Sprite container. Sprite container. Sprite container is a very powerful control. This control contains two panels and separate a splitter. A splitter is pretty easier for us to separate. So let us drag a split container into the middle of this form. By default, it has been docketed, right? Docked to where? Docked to the middle. You see, if we check the dock split container 1, take a look at the dock field. Fill the rest of the space of its parent. If we change it into none, let us see what is the split container. So that is a split container. This one is a split container. A split container contains two panels, panel 1, panel 2. But this time I like to set the proportion. Panel 1 should be larger than the panel 2. Because the panel 2 I like to, you will add some button right there, right? For the panel 1, we like to display. We will display what? Display the LEDs picture box there. So that is our purpose. And if you like to distinguish both of them, we can special. For example, panel 1 has kind of special back color. Maybe this one. And the panel 2 probably let it remain the same. So after I specify the color and the relative width for this one. So that is a split container. So sometimes you will have a complicated layout. Probably within this panel, you add another split container. Add another split container nested there. Okay, so that will make your user interface kind of versatile anyway. All right, so and also there is an important property called orientation. Because the split container contains two panels, right? So right now panel is oriented in the left and right. But what about if I like to separate these two panels into top and bottom? How can we do that? We just change the orientation from vertical into horizontal. So in that case, your panel 1 is in the top, panel 2 in the lower end. But right now we like to stick on vertical, right? But we kind of initially set a ratio between the left and the right panel into this proportion because we would like to have a wider panel for LED display, right? So once you specify this property is correctly, then we will dock it back. So we change the dock command. So you need to pay attention to that because if you click on this guy, it's by default click on the split container 1, panel 1. See, if I click on this part, it's panel 1. So right now the target is panel 1. If I click on this part, it's target. It's very hard to click on put it on this split container. If you want to put it on split, either way you can select it. Split container 1, see split container 1 dot panel 2. So you need to use the dot accessor to access panel 1, panel 2 in that way. I mean, from the split container 1. Okay, so how can you highlight the split container 1? So usually you did your split container by drag a rectangle intersect with this split container, and then you will see, well, the whole split container has been highlighted, and then you can move it. You can move it from this handle. So right now we kind of highlight this split container. So in that case, I can specialize the dot property from none into fill. This is fill. Okay, so nicely dotted. And then we like, because we will access its panel 1, panel 2, right? So programming-wise, we will need to access this control, so we have better split change the name. And in my convention, I call it split XPC main split container. So sometimes within a panel or a split container, you might add another split container in that way. So nested, okay. Also, the purpose is that after in the constructor, we need to instantiate 16 by 32 picture box special within this way. Okay, so we will do that, and I suggest you do it by yourself. Okay, so check the text we have done in the previous assignment. Try to finish it by yourself. So basically, we'll instantiate each picture box, right? Specify its location. Its location is the rectangle left and top, right, and then the width and the height, right? So in that case. So you need to identify the width, the total width of this panel 1. So roughly, how can you do that? So we will set up the width. For example, you like to set a width, right? So how can you get it? Width might be what? You need to program-wise check the width of the panel 1. So how can you access the panel 1? SPC main, right? Panel 1. Remember that we will put all the picture box within panel 1. There is a panel 1. SPC main dot panel 1. It's width. Total width, right? So if you easily divide it by 32, that will be your width of your picture box. So we know that. Okay, so I think it's a break time. So right now we just take a break. And if you have any question, you can raise your hand. I can help you out, or we just take a break. And after that, we will continue our assignment lab. Okay, so let us take a break. 你们可以尝试自己参考一下那个上一次的 assignment 那现在只是变成 two dimensional array 那多一层回圈，那概念是一样的过往是16颗，一个 row 是16个，现在32个也没什么 big deal。把那个程式自己勾输入，那这样自己才会有收获所以希望你自己的完成。那稍后老师当然会带家这种，不过很快就带过我不会再细谈。所以你自己再回顾一下上一个 assignment 是 one row 的这种 LED， 同样的概念，但是记得一件事情，右边是最小的right hand side 它是 zeros index 的这种 LED 好吧，我们休息后再回来。I think in last assignment we added the picture box to where? To this, right? This meaning what? Meaning the object of this form. Object, since the form is a container, so each container should have a property called controls. So in previous assignment, we directly add our picture box to form, right? To form cell. But right now we need to add our picture box to where? To split container dot panel 1. So that is why we measure the width of this panel 1 in order to set the size of our picture box. So we allocate this guy, right? SPC main dot panel 1. We measure the width first and then divide by 32. So that will be our width or height of our picture box. So up to this point, it's ready. So it's about the time we instantiate 16 by 32 picture box and assign it to LEDs. So the first, since it's a two-dimensional array, right? So we will need the we will allocate memory for 16 by 32 picture box first. So LEDS, we need to allocate the size. New spacebar intelligence is knowing that it's a picture box array. So since it's two-dimensional array, so we need to specify it 16 by 32. Right? So up to this point, the object of a picture box has not been allocated yet. Right? All right, so since it's two dimensions, so we need to have we might like to call it a row. So make it clear. So row stand for that. How about the width? So how many rows? We shall have 16 rows, right? And how about the column? Stand for a column, 132 column, right? So after that, we need to instantiate each picture box one by one. So which one? LEDS or column. This guy will be instantiated by a new command, picture box. There. So after this line, memory for a picture box has been allocated and assigned to LEDS RC. So it's about the time we specialize the widths, right? So LEDS RC. Right now, we try to specialize widths. The width is the same as the height. W. You see, we measure the width divided by 32. So probably you can add some spaces by yourself. You need to figure out if you like to display this LED nicely, probably we should leave some space in the left and right and top and left. So that's totally up to you. And then how about the location, LEDS, RC? Location is left, right? We can specify left or X probably. So get and set. You see, it's a kind of problem we can get and set it. And another similar problem we might call it X. No, not X. So we can just specify left. So left should be related to what? Related to colon, right? Colon index. So probably colon index. So time width, right? It's not okay, right? Because as I say, the zeros, the index 0 should be in the right hand side. So it's about the time we use, probably that should be 32 minus C, right, column wise. But is this okay? Probably not. You see, you can try it. If C is 0, then we have 32W. Definitely that is not right, right? So that should be 31. Okay? Because the initial index should be 0, right? So the first one is 0, right? So the stuff from left to right, right? That should be not 32 times width, it should be 31 times width. Oh, okay, so left. How about the top? So probably we just specify that top. Summary. That should be what? That should be room, twice, times, W, right? Is that right? 0, or we start from 0. Probably we just have special a little bit offset, probably maybe 5 pixels, I don't know. You can see. If you are good at the layout, you see, if you take a look at the snapshot I shown up right here. The top, you see, the offset top and the bottom should be the same. I kind of centralized all these 16 by 32 LED right in the middle of this panel 1. So it's up to you. You can beautify it. I mean, it's beautify the layout by carefully calculating the location of left and top. Okay, it's totally by you. But right now, since I just want to show you how to do it, so the layout is not well prepared. Okay. Fine. So up to this point. And how about the image? So similarly, we can specify initial image, right? LEDS, RC, dot image. So image has been stored well. Subnamespace properties. It's a subnamespace dot. How about the class? This is prepared by the resources. It's prepared by the resources for us. Try to access property. Off. Perfect. This off is just that image. We just embedded it of image. Yeah. How about the event? Because we are not going to let the LED display, right? We also let this LED serve as input device, right? We use my cricket, so we would like to subscribe click event LED. Yes. So how can you dynamically subscribe an event? Well, simply dot special click event. See, Thunderbolt, right? So once you can highlight this click, and then we type a tab key, blank space. You need to specify plus equal, which meaning what? Meaning so far LDS RC has probably some other guy has subscribed it, and then originally it contained probably none or probably one or probably many delegates there. So right now we try to add it up by another delegate, which means another function pointer prepared by us. So we just prepare this function for us, right? So we tap key twice, tab key twice. So we just prepare this function. So that function will be invoked. So officially we call this is delegate. It's a delegate. We added the function pointer to this delegated click. Okay, so click accumulating all kind of function pointer there. So right here. Okay, so up to this point we can. So once each control has been created and specified properly, right? So we need to right now add this LDS to where? To this panel one, not the form. Okay, so right now form has been occupied by this main split container, and we like to add our control appear in this panel one. So that is why we measure the length right here, right? So about the time we add, so you can add some comment for yourself to understand. We add panel one or split control, split container. So in fact, we have changed the name, right? So that should be SPC main. See, SPC main, right? CP main dot. Since a split container separated two panel, right? So either way, you have panel one or panel two. These two are again another container that can contain user control. So panel one dot SS controls. So hierarchically, I mean, if it is a container, then container might contain another container. So if you want to add some control to that container, you need to access its control. Add. LDS RC to it. Okay, so let us take a look at what would happen. I mean, so this is the constructor, right? So after the main has been instantiated, and then we added this control to panel one. So take a look at what you have. All right, so I have, you see, well, I have something wrong there, right? How about the width is not correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Seems okay. Probably just a little bit upset. 好吧，可以吗？所有有问题的举手一下，我或者是助教帮你过去看一下哈。我们先演练一下，把那个 event 写完哈。所以when user click on either picture box, the image will be toggle, right? So that is the purpose. So right now we try to complete this click event. by default, you see, by default, we subscribe this event, click event, right? It add a main phone click, main phone click. The name is not okay, but we are not just hit the name. Actually, we click on what? On picture box. So either way, you can change the name. We'll probably leave it there. But right now, we know this is the function. Once the user click on an image. So which one? Which picture? Picture box has been special as an object right here, right? So we need to cast it back. Cast it back. So we know it's a picture box. Picture box. We might call it target. We cast it back. Sender. Picture box. Sender. Right? So right now we have target ready for us to use. So we will kind of check the image of target, right? If it is on, then we come into change it into the off. If it is off, change it to on, right? So if we check target dot image exactly equal properties dot resources dot on. If it is on, then we change the target or image into off. So pay attention to equal and equal symbol, right? Else. So the logic is very simple. Since we have just one statement, right? We have just one statement, so we don't need to specify the process. We don't need to use a pair of process. We simply type this single line, single statement. So if, then else. Well, it's about it, so we can practice it. And then I might stop right here if you have any question. So we turn it on. Oh, okay. I forget special property, right? What? We need to change what? We need to special another property. LEDS RC. That's important. Stretch image, right? Zoom size mode. No zoom. Can't remember. Interesting. What is the problem? Size mode, right? Okay, so we need to specify. Select the size mode. We need to change it. Size mode. Since it's enumeration, so we can select it. Once I type brain space, intelligent has highlighted this guy for this enumeration for us. Picture box size mode. That select it. Stretch image. Okay. Now we look nicer. Okay, this is mine. It's kind of awful, right? Cannot identify. So, oops, something wrong. I cannot turn it back. Oh, something wrong there. Let me check. If target image equal on, then off. Otherwise, switch the image on. But it does not work. Picture box. Let's quickly show. Image property resources on. Okay, I think there is a problem. We need to kind of specify the image as a variable first. I cannot do it. I mean, as you can see, there's something wrong, some description. The image right now is not exactly equal resources on. All right, so as I described, I think in the we need to kind of first initially specialize that as a local as a data member on map there. So later on in our program, we need to directly use on map and on map, not access the properties there again. So let me do one thing. See, we have on bmap, off bmap. So in the after the in the constructor, we need to specify it. So before that, we specify on image on BMP, we call it on BMP. It's kind of weird. I mean, we specify into properties dot resources dot on, right? So we keep just a copy as an individual member for our form of BMP properties resources off. So from this point, we are not going to directly access this resource file again. So we kind of use this on bmap for property checking. So right here, image. We are not going to use resource anymore. So we directly use bmap. Okay, so we use this to data memo to identify it. So if the image exactly equal on image, on BMP, excuse me, on BMP, and we set it into off BMP. Otherwise, we turn it on BMP. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So whole idea is that we prepare two data member to hold the picture from the resource file first. Stored it, stored it. And after that, we simply directly use on for image checking and setting. Okay, so so first, up to this point, make sure your LED can be can turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Okay, so make sure you call up to this point, make everything's okay. 好，有任何问题的举手一下，我或许跟助教帮你看一下哈。所以这些程式其实现在是多一个 dimension， 好，多一个 dimension。那抽 ID 也是一样，好，好吧？有没有任何问题？好，所以现在 user 呢 can specify the back pattern, right? The display pattern. So we are about the time to store to provide a record function for this display. So take a look at the instruction. So we have prepared a function. So please complete this function. We will record a frame. At the end of this function, you will return an integer array. So remember that what is a frame? What is a frame? A frame will contain 16 integer, right? So that should be an array of 16 integer. So as you can see, a frame should be named 16 integer. How about each integer? Each integer will be exactly like the on-off condition we have before, right? In the previous version. So we'll read the LED image of row R to compose the integer value. So a frame R, you need to spell a frame R right there. So at the end, we will return this array 90 back. So that is we call a frame. It's 4, okay? So within your form, up to this point, we will have so once we recall a frame, I mean it's a current frame, right? So that will return an integer. Record a frame. So we need to read LEDs R, right? So there are 16 rows, so each row should represent by the integer, right? So in this within this function, eventually you will special a frame R's row. Initially, we set it to 0, right? So we look into each bit, I mean each LEDs column wise and add it up. Okay, think about that, and I think you should do it by yourself. Initially, the R's rows, which means that this line, the R, for example, the 0th row, first row, second row, each row you should check the on-off image for each LEDs, and then if it is on, then definitely add one bit bit pattern to it. So we will look through for each column, right? For int column start from 0. Column 0 is in the right hand side. This is column 0, column 1, column 2, up to column 31, right? So C start from there, C up to 32, C++. For each bit, 0th bit up to 31 bits, right? So how can you make a mask? It's very simple. Use left shift C. So right now you have a mask. So you have a mask. This mask will add up to where? It's pretty simple. Right now a frame is 0, right? So this frame will add up to. So actually, what kind of bitwise operator you should use? Initially, there is a bit pattern there, right? In the frame R. So a frame R 0, 0, 0, 0, there are 31, 32, 0 there. So right now in C column, if you find it is on, we need to add it to this frame. So in that case, you will have a frame R, and not N, excuse me, O, because you add up O this mask. You will for C column, or for C bits. You see, we move C bits, right? Up to this, so we have mask, right? So let me show you. We will all this pattern. The idea is that we all about this statement will be executed only when the column C, the image is on, right? On. If the bit is on, then the bit is 1. Otherwise, it's 0. So initially, all bits is 0, right? So if the C column C, so this statement is only executed if what? LEDs are C. If the image is exactly equal on BMP, we add this bit 1 to a frame. So we are not dealing with integer calculation at all. Actually, we are dealing with bitwise bit. So this is the C bits, right? Because we have been checking the column C, right? So if it is on, then we need to add a bit 1 to this bit C, right? So this is a mask. We ordered, or original one might have some 01 pattern that we ordered. So we return it. So now you have recorded a frame. So once you record a frame, right? In your application, we will add it to where? We will add it to frames. Frames is a list. We call it a genetic list. The element of this list is an integer array. Well, actually, integer array is a frame, right? So we record a frame. So we So this friends is actually a list of friends. Friend is represented by integer array. Okay. So friends, because we like to add a friend there, right? So initially we need to instantiate. Friends is a list. Friends is a list. So either way, I mean, we can initialize it right here. Okay, right in the data member definition. Okay, so we add we instantiate new. It's a list or int array. Accepted. So it's kind of type, right? It's kind of type. List. The element is an integer array. So we invoke this type, right, and use empty parentheses. So we kind of invoke the constructor. So right now, friends is ready to use. We instantiate it in the memory. All right. So up to this point, we have a function ready for us to record the friend. And if this friends is a data to store the pictures, right? And then we can play it, we can animate it, right? So it's about the time we prepare a user interface to edit. So up to this point, let us add a button. We call it recall a friend. We call current friend or recall a friend. Let me just record it. Record this frame and name it. Record. So this button, once user click it, that means user has added a friend to friends, right? So that is the purpose. So we like to do that. Recall this frame. So naming wise, button recall. Then it's about the time we subscribe this event. Click. Recall the frame. Okay, so up to this point, we have recall a frame, right? Current frame, current on-off condition, then we store it into an array, int array. So an int array is actually contains 16 integer because we have 16 row, right? So each row is represented by integer. So that is a frame, we call a frame. So we go return a frame. So once you click on this record button recall, let me move it up a little bit. Not let you confused. So open and save will be dealt with later. So we go to friend. So we will invoke this function, right? Recall a friend. I see what you recall a friend. So current friend, pick it up, and then after this function call, an integer array has been created, right? Because we knew a friend, right? This array has been there. So we added it to where? To this list, friends list. Friends is a dynamic list, dynamic array. Since it's a collection, it always has an add function. So add it. Add the result. So instead, you can prepare a local variable. We might call it, well, int array a frame. Start from calling this function, right? Calling this record a frame. Fine. So actually, what you get is an array, integer array. So then you can edit a frame. The logic are exactly the same, right? So the same. So, but it makes it clear, much more clear. So we record a frame. Right now we have a get a frame. So we add a frame to these frames. So right now frames has a different kind of value. But because we need to let the user know what kind of situation, what kind of picture has been stored, right? So we like to display information right here, right? Right here. What is the control name? We call it label message. We like to display the current condition of these frames, right? So we might prepare a function. We might call it locally void. We don't return anything. We might call it update. Anyway, just update information info. That's it. Update info. So update info is try to what? We try to report the current condition of frames. For example, okay, current update info. We might have label, message, right? Text. We try to write something there. And then we use straight string or formatted string there. So we might call frames count. So how can you get frames count? Well, you just keep frames. Frames is a collection, is a dynamic list. So they always has a property. Frames, right? Frames dot count. This property called count. It's a dynamic array. If it is a fixed array, then the property called length, but it's a dynamic array, so it's count. So frames counts, frames.counts, displayed it. So it's a function. If you want to display updated, you can just call it. So how do we record it? Then we will call it update info. That's it. That makes it pretty simple. So user might notice that, well, okay, right now I have 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames, right, like that. Okay. All right. So probably let me. Well, okay, fine. So let me try to run your application. So user right now they can click on this picture and then hit the button. So right now frames count is 1, right? It's 1. And then if it keep doing anything, record it again. So frame 2. Frame 3, right? So make sure you can do that. So user can design this frame, right? By click on let it LED or dim the LED. Fine, it's totally up to him. So user can do that and then record it. All right. So up to this point, frames has kept up 4 frames, right? So actually we can create animation. We can try to exercise. All right. 好不好？到目前为止有没有那个问题哈？就是说收放好一部分哈，就是 record frame is ready. Actually, just prepare an integer array, right? So we keep it. So it's about time we animate the frames. So we prepare a button, drag a button. Okay, so we will animate it. Change the names. Pay attention to either way you are in property or in event subscription. So call it BNT animate. And the text, face text, I call it animate. So right now the face text or this button is animate. All right. So for animation, you always need a help. Need a help from timer, right? So we drag in a timer, dragging timer. Timer is not visualized, right? So by default, well, where is it? I do not have it. So drag in to from. Okay, right now timer 1. Probably in your project later on, you will have different kind of timer for example, for cycling, for expansion, for zoom in, zoom out, whatever. You just add it. But this timer just for animation. So I will call it the name, not timer 1, TMR animation. Interval. So every 110 seconds. Is that okay for you? Probably fine. Okay, just leave it there. But the most important is we like to subscribe the tick event timer, animation timer. Okay, so animation timer. So the functionality of this function is simple. We will display, we like to display, we will forward the counter, forward the index counter. There is the index, right? So we have what? We have a current index right here, current index, which is used in animation. Current index, which means that frames current will be displayed, right? So we need another function first. If we want to play animation, we need to specify the we need to display a frame, right? So right here, we call a frame, right? So right now we need to prepare a function, show a frame, just display a frame. So I kind of copy it. Can I do that? So after we call a frame, okay, I add another function, display, right? So it's a void. So this skeleton is there. So reversely, and this which is kind of reverse from recording, right? So we like to display a frame, right? If you give me an array for int, right? So actually that should be 16 integers, right? Frames, a frame. So we start from 0 up to 16, definitely that should be 16. So we set already on or off. So right now you have what? You have frames are the row. So you have int. Right now you need to perform bitwise check. Bitwise check. If that bit is on, then you set the image off. If it is 0, if the bit is 0, then you set the image into on. So how can you check that? So definitely you need to check for the 32. Right now it's 32 bits, right? So you see, we kind of look through the 32 LEDs, right? So kind of compose it. So it's kind of reverse. 你自己想想看好不好？老师在打的话，就每个都帮你做了啊。Can you do that by yourself? I mean, just turn it on off. So what do you need to just the purpose is that you will set what? So definitely we will have for loop column wise, right? Start from 0, column wise up to 32, column wise plus plus, right? So definitely we'll have this one. So eventually you will check the value, the bit pattern of frame R, right? The row R, right? And then try to set the LEDs. C whether image set to on BMP. Or off BMP. Okay, do it by yourself. Think about that. So it's kind of reverse, right? So in here we check it is on, then we set bit 1, right? So right now you need to check the the bit C, whether the bit C is 1 or 0. So I can do that again. If you can use left shift operator to compose a mask, and then use that mask to either way and or in order to check whether the result is exactly equal that mask or not. So you need to do that. Okay, try to figure it out. Okay. All right. So once you have a show frame, right? If we have show frame ready, then how about the ticket event? Right now, ticket event. Tick event is that the current index is 0, right? The current index is 0. So we will show the current index. So during the tick event, it's very simple. We just show a frame. Each time, I mean, when time's up, each time we just show frame. So if we really like to show a frame, you need to give me an array or int, right? So array int is where frames. So this, right? The current indexes, right? Okay, after this frame is shown, then we need to forward, right? So CUR index need to forward by 1. But once you have reached the end of the last frame, we need to loop it back. So we need to set it back to 0, right? So up to this point, current index has been updated by 1, right? So after that, you need to check if current index is greater than or equal than frames.count. Frame has a property count, right? So in that case, if we have reached the end of this video clip, so we start from the very beginning. So we set current index equals 0. So we let the animation repeatedly show the video clip somehow in that way. Okay, so timer animation tick, the event is just show the current frame and then forward the frame count into the next frame. That's it. If it reaches the end, we start from the beginning again. So that is the tick event for the timer. But how about the button? The button right here will serve as a toggle button. Click it, enable the timer. Click it, disable the timer, right? We need to play the animation, stop the animation. Actually, that is a pause. Pause animation, continue animation, pause the animation like that. Okay, so we subscribe this event. Animate. Quick event. btn animate. All right, right here. So again, I moved it up a little bit. Somewhere. Okay. So this is the timer tick event, right? So it's very simple right here. We kind of, because we like to toggle the face text of this button, right? So we had better check if btn animate text is exactly equal animate. So we are about to start the animation, right? So if it is in this way, then we enable the timer. So TMR animation enable true. And also change the type, the face text, btn animate text into what? Into stop. We'll probably call it pause. Anyway, I might probably call it pause. Fine. Make it much more consistent with the action. Okay, so we can pause it. And then after we hit the pause again, so else disable it. Which means that it's not anyway, it is in pause status, and once user click on pause, the animation stop. Animate true, stop it. And then the text pad change it back to animate. So this button will be the toggle button of 切换 toggle button. OK， 那我们还是不能播放，这边没有写对的话，没有办法播放。好吧，我们 take a break， 那麻烦大家思考一下哈，这个怎么把它写正确出来啊？就是我们是 bitwise check 那 pattern 嘛哈，就是说你的 match 跟上 match 第7个那个 bit 就是1， that shift to C bit, C position. So you have a mask right there. Okay, that mask is an integer. So that integer will operate with the current value of a frame somehow, either and or somehow 好，好吧？那其实 anime 其实就可以 run 了哈。假如说这边写完的话，就可以试用。好，我们休息后再回来哈。那 in case 到目前为止你有任务举个手，我去帮你看一下哈。好。Turn it on. Okay, so take a look at the file which I just passed to you, right? Never mind, I just use the file, the format of the file as I declare right here. The first line is simply an integer number, specify the number of frames, right? That occupy a line, and then after that, each line will contain 16 integers. So that is the file format we like to save. Okay, so we start from here. So right now, user need to want to save the content of frames into this file path. So in order to save the content to a text file, we will ask help from a class called string str and string writer. The class name is string writer. It's not recognized, right? Because we did not include the namespace. So let the Visual Studio help you. String str and string writ. String writer. String writer, okay, STREAM, Actually, it is specified in this namespace system.io. It's related to input output. Okay, so let the user prepare this statement for us. So actually, what you need to just type this using system.io because string writer is specified within that namespace. Okay, I need to instantiate an object. I call it SW. New it. So how can you create a string writer object? So you need to specify either an existing string or a path. See, string the path. So since the path has been passed in, right, from this local variable file name, so I just specify file path. So I use enter the parameter file path to create a string writer object. So remember that once you create a string writer, at the end you need to close it. Otherwise, this resource will be hung up there. The other application cannot open that file anymore. So remember that once you create a string writer, you need to close it when you finish it. All right, so we will ask the help from this string writer SW to help us. What kind of functionality has been provided by the SW? Okay, we will use write line, text line. It's very simple, right? So write line, just like what we have studied before. We have a console read line, right? We have a string writer write line. So we prepare a write line there. So we will print out first line. First line is what? First line should be number of frames. Okay, so it's simple. So we were so the content has been stored in where? In frames, right? Frames, right? So how many frames? How many frames should be recorded first? So we call frames dot count. It's int, right? To string. That's it. So we write a line. We write to that file a line right now. And then follow by if the count is 10, then should be the 10 lines, right? So we will set up a for loop. Well, this time since it's not related to modify the content of this frame, so we can use for each. For each. And what is the element? Or in frames? In frames, each element is an int array, right? It's an array. And I call it a frame. In frames. So this time we kind of use for each statement, which will help us to understand. Because in frames, I don't know how many frames has been stored there, right? Does not matter. For each frame, for each element in frame, that should be int array, right? So, and I call it a frame. So a frame will contain what? It actually is a list of int array, right? So we will look through each, you see, for each again. How about a frame? What is the element of a frame? In a frame, you see, a frame is an int array, right? So each element is actually an int value, right? So I might call it actually it's a line. I might just call it a line. So a line will be represented by an integer, right? Because a line contains 32 bits, right? So int contains 32 bits. So it's very simple. A line is there. So it's about the time to write it out. So we ask SW write. Not write line, okay? So we just write each element because that will be a line should contain everything. So I write line and line to string, right? But I like to use three string. It's just a string, right? So because each int should be separated by a space, right? So I use this three string placeholder right here, integer right here, and followed by a blank space. That I want to write it out. So this time we don't need to use toString at all. We just write line. So if line is 120, and just put it 120. If it's minus 120, it's okay. Just find it. Okay, so SW write. But at the end, we need to write next line character, right? So for in order to let the notebook print it out correctly, so we add a character return next line character to the end for this line. So we save animation file content area. So each frame will be represented by one line there. Okay, so let us set a breakpoint right here. You can try it. I think it's about it. So SW we instantiate it first, and then we write line for each frame. We write each element followed by each element, and then at the end we have add a next line character. So each frame will occupy one line. Okay, so let me set a breakpoint. So suppose right now user prepare a frame, somehow record it. So now we record it, right? And then it add up something. Record it. So right now we have 3 frames, right? Okay, so user click save button. User select a folder, right? Desktop, the project, right? So within our solution folder, space right, A, without space right, any extension, right? Save it. Okay, up to this point. So it's okay, right? Because we have finished this course. We shown up, pop up this dialog, and then user the answer is okay. So we ask this function to save it. So file path is well. You see, as you can see, C user desktop solution folder aa.txt. TXT is added by the system for you. Then step by step, line by line, we create SW. So SW is ready. You see, check the content of SW. You see. All right. So write it out for each line. Okay, let me just execute to this point. Okay, let me continue. Okay, I think it's done right now without any else. So let us take a look at the at the file. aa.txt, right? Since we have added \r\n, so it will be displayed in notebook correctly. So each line, right? So we type 3, each line separated by a blank space, right? So we print it out, first int, second int, 50 int, and then add a \r\n. So it's not visualized. So that's it. That is our file. Okay. Is there any question up to this point? All right. So if a problem. So in record a frame, you need to instantiate this array first, right? So it's a local variable, right? And then after that, you look through each integer, try to set a frame, or try to set a value for a frame. So for this line, for this line, frame R, line R contains 32 bits, right? So we need to make sure this recorder frame is correctly implemented. 这个是 problem come up from yourself. 有没有其他问题？好，好吧。如果说有问题，稍后再回来。We need to finish another functionality. Read it back, right? We need to complete the read functionality. So, okay. So now let us start from read. This is record open, right? So we will implement the open functionality. So back to the design phase. Similarly, if you can save it, definitely you can open it, right? So we look into the dialog category. So we have open file dialog here, right? We have open file dialog here. So drag it in one. And change the diagram name into proper DLG open. That's my convention, okay? So you can specify the name by yourself. Alright, so similarly, there is default extension. So I'm going to call it TXT. That's it. And if you like, you can specify the title. It's up to you, okay? So it's quite similar to save, right? So open. Alright, so since we have a dialog ready for us, we can get a file, right? So once you click on the open button, right? So double click it. This function, right? Manual open click, come here. So which is quite similar to manual save click, right? Diagonal result, right? So we prepare a diagonal result first. But never mind, let us invoke a DLG open first. Open, show always has a function show dialog. But we have to check the result because user might cancel, right? So we have dialog result, answer, get back the action of the user first. And only if when answer exactly equal to OK, which means user really want to open the file. Alright, so the open button clicked, we invoke this dialog open, pop it up, get the user's interaction, probably get the user specified file, right? So never mind. So let us just set a breakpoint to see what is the result of the button click. Okay, similar to the save file. So to this point, user might want to open. Click on open, right? Let me set a breakpoint right here and cancel this breakpoint. Continue. So user might regret, right? So user might click cancel, right? Might close the window. Similar, might select the file and open it. So if the user click on this button, what will the result? Answer. It's cancel. See, it's cancel. So user click open again. User might change its mind. Click on cancel button. Answer still cancel, right? Okay, let me continue. But this time, user really specify a file. Okay, so aa.txt. See, either user select a file, click open, or otherwise user double click this one. This time I double click AA How about the answer? It's okay. All right. So you need to check whether the interaction result is okay, and then we do the open file. Okay, so that is the mechanism of this button. So we are about to implement another function. This function is called open file, right? Let me check about the instruction. Open an animation frames. Open animation frames from a file, right here. Well, name-wise is kind of lazy, so probably I will change the name right here. So okay, let's start from here. Void open animation frames from file. Again, I will take the file path in. Okay, up to this point. So we can complete the button click event right here. So when user click on menu, open click, then if the answer is okay, it's about the time we call this function. We call this function in and pass in the user specified file, right? Where is the file path? Wow, it's in DLG open that file name similarly. So when open button is clicked, we pop out dialog, and if the user want to open the file, then we pass that file path into this function. So this function, the purpose of this function is try to read the file and then put the animation file into where? Into frames, right? So the first thing is right now frames clear. We clear up previous information first. And it's about the time we ask for help from another class. Since we have a string writer, right? So definitely we will have a string reader ready for us to ask help. String reader. Yes, string reader. Supposedly, I name the name of the name into SR. So we need to instantiate it. So how can we instantiate a string reader? We need to provide a file path. Not string, okay, we are not going to invoke the first constructor. We will invoke this constructor. We simply pass in a file path. That would be okay. So file path. Alright, so up to this point we have SR ready, right? And it open that file. So remember that at the end we need to SR close it. Otherwise that file will be locked. Any other application cannot access it. So SR eventually will SR close it. So right now you know the format, right? So you need to do it one by one by yourself. So what kind of function we can use from string reader? SR dot read line. Oh, okay, read line. Great. You can read the whole line, right? So once we read the whole line, that will be stored in a string, right? So result a line is actually a string. S. str anyway. So we prepare a local variable str store the first line. And we know the first line definitely that should be a number of the frames, right? So we kind of prepare a local variable again, int number, and then you convert as the converter to int 32, right? str. So str right now contains the number information. So we know the number. So right now it's about the time we read in num lines, NUN lines from the file, right? So we set up a for loop. I start from 0 up to what? Up to num, right? Totally, because followed by this number, there should be num lines. Each line should be a frame, right? So the ith frame contain what? Ith frame is actually the int array, right? A frame. 16. Yeah, that's right. 16 16 row, 16 line, right? Row number is 16, and each row should be an integer, right? So it's okay. So a frame 16. So we will, because number frame, right? So each frame should be the what number, right? So it's about the time we what number. So we put numbers int. So we read in the string first. So we read in the first string. Similar. So we read a frame which contains 16 integer that has been stored in a string. So about the time we what string split. We are about to read in the whole string, right? So the whole string contains 16 integer right there, right? It is separate. It will be separated by what? By the blank spaces and also backslash n backslash r, right? So in order to safely pass a string, so we had better prepare a separate CHAR SEP. It's array again. If we bump into blank space, we bump into backslash character return, we bump into next line. These are serve as the separator character for splitting, for string splitting, separate right there. So we will ask this string split. And we always use SEP separator, right? But we would like to invoke this function. Second, third one. String split option. String split option. So once the IntelliSense has highlighted this for you, you simply type dot remove empty entries. That is the whole purpose we like to have. We took that, in last assignment, right? So after the split, a string has been separated and has been split into a string list, right? String array. So we call it items. Again, let me tell you again. So what we have done is that we read in the string first, right? So we prepare this separator. If the string bump into character or blank space, character return or next line will serve as separate. After separation, then definitely the result should be an array of string. All right, so up to this point. So after that, we will look through for int. Actually, that should be the j start from 0, j up to 16. Well, I call it row anyway. To make it consistent, row R, right? So a frame R rows is an integer, right? So that's the integer. A frame contains 16 integer, right? So that is a row, the data of row R. So row R is what? Items R, R's element, right? But it's a string. But definitely we know right now after split, it's actually represent the integer. So we cast it, we ask the help from the convert to int 32 back. So we retrieve the integer number back from the saved string, right? So that's our idea. So frame. So within this for each line, we can reading the line and then split it into a string array and convert each substring into an integer number, put into a frame R. So after 16 integer has been graded in and composed as a integer array, we are about the time to add a frame to frames, right? So how can you add it? Remember that frame has been clear, right? So it's about the time we simply ask this dynamic array added a frame. You see, frames is a list. The item, the element is actually int array. So right now we have int array right there, right? So we can add that as an element frame there. I think that's it. So open and measure. So I think what we have learned from this assignment is that we will set our content as a file, and also we will read in from a text file into our content, and then we can display it. So that is the whole idea. So that will make your application a real application. You can generate animation file, you can read in, you can save it arbitrarily. So up to this point, you can check it out by that. So we will open and then read in again that animation file aa.txt. So since I have a breakpoint right here, so I kind of discard it. And then let me set a breakpoint to here. Okay, so we are about open aa.txt, right? So file path right here, aa.txt, right? If you take a look at aa.txt, the content is right here. So we kind of open it right now. And then we instantiate SR. It's okay. So we read in the first line, right? Read line. So mutual code check about str. Str is 3, right? Just this line. Str is 3. We convert it into integer. So we get integer number, NUM3. So follow, there should be 3 lines, right? So num3. So then we set up a separate character array. So character contains 3 characters. Either is a blank space, backslash R, backslash N. So we loop through repeatedly for 3 times, right? So we instantiate a frame first because each frame contains 16 integer number. All right, so we read in the first line. Actually, that should be second line. First, str. So check about the str. Str line contains 0, frame space 0, frame space 0, frame space 0, frame space 4,000, blah, 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 frame space. Okay, so totally it should be 16 line. And then we ask the split function to split this string into substring. So after split, right? Check about the item. There should be 16, exactly 16 substring there. So these are the strings, substring. And then we look through these 16 substring one by one, assign each substring converted into an integer, assigned to a frame corresponding the element there. So after this point, so maybe go to this point. So everything has been graded in. So I think everything should be okay. So after that, we can animate, right? So we can animate it. We can stop it. We can also open another file, right? So I think in desktop I have shorty, right? No, not here. In my place, I have put it here. CSharp. I have a one short. You can read in. Oops. Take it out. Or I can animate it. Okay, which is similar, right? So right now your application is a complicated application right now. You can read in that kind of text file and then play the animation. You can stop it. Okay, I think that is the most important functionality I'd like you should complete at first. But later on, you can add it because right now the application can do animation, right? But again, if you think about the composition because each frame, right? If you use this application, let me show you again. Right now, your application is ready for play animation and store animation file, right? But you should add some functionality to help your user compose a picture, a frame. Right now, it's very shaky, right? We do not have anything. So suppose if I want to generate an animation file for example, this arrowhead will keep going, right? Where I will generate. But right now, I can record it. But each time I need to erase it, right? Erase it, and then move the arrow key to the left a little bit, and then I record it. It's really troublesome, right? It's not convenient. If you can provide some tool, help the user. You see right here, the current image right here, right? You can provide some button, left shift, right shift, down shift, up shift. Then I can quickly generate a new frame, record it, right? That is the point, okay? And also, if you like, you can check about the previous assignment, provide some still image 是静态的画面，它的 cycling 它可以让它 cycle， 所以you can prepare some functionality, for example, cycling, swing in, swing back, and probably you can try something zoom in, zoom out。好，比如说我讲的就是一个静态的画面，你可以在这边多做一些 button， 协助我们 compose 一个 frame， 那 record 起来可以播放。好，剩下麻烦大家去发挥你的想象力。好，那主要的功能呢？ File 那个 Save File Open 好，我们继续提供这个就是等于新的方向，你要学会它用哈。那另外 Animation Wise 呢也很简单，我们就可以 play 了哈，就没什么哈。那这个上面 ask you to generate as you 就是you kind of enrich your functionality for your application first 好，你先把你的那个 application 的功能加强，然后拍一段短片起来。好，老师要求你们大概要求2个哈。 Okay, let me check the requirement. Okay. Okay. Oh, in addition to the source code, you are asked to construct at least 2 animation file, or your own design. 好，所以。 最后除了 application 之外，然后你要提供2个 txt 的 file， 让大家可以播放这个那个 video 的哈。那有点像是你在拍片一样。那我讲过哈，如果说以现在的功能非常阳春，你要做一片，你要 compose 一个 image 就要非常辛苦。那希望大家提供一些工具，我可以，比如说我目前就画一个画面，可以往左移一个，往右一个啊，那可以放大缩小啊。那每一个画面我就可以把它 record 起来，可以做播放，就比较有趣。 也就提供一些功能的按键，在这个地方协助我这个画面一个静态画面的这些变动，那以便你可以快速的建构你的 image 起来。好，所以 more than that 哈，你回去了上面不要只是这样而已，你要多提供一些像上次的assignment那些东西 ，swing 啊，然后呢 cycling 啊这些东西啦，或是 shift 那现在因为多感面往上 shift， 往下 shift， 往右 shift， 往左 shift， 试试看。好，那这些东西都跟这个那个 data 有关。 所以剩下的这些东西，大概有一些东西你会用到的哈，像那个 original picture 啊 ，change the picture 啊，什么东西都是用那个 int 的 array 记录起来，一个 frame 就是这个样子哈。好吧，那我们进到这边，那如果说有任何question，还可以留下来哈，老师会再跟大家 help。好吧，我们进到这边好，稍一下。